Hi, and welcome to our show in our community. Joining us today is Ravi Bhatnagar and Basab Pradhan. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, your company is called Bad Company or Bay Area Drama Company?
That's right.
So you call it Bad?
We do call it Bad Company, sort of informally, but the formal name is Bay Area Drama Company. But the initials are bad, so it just stuck.
How did the name come about?
We were just, we were kind of looking at possible names for the company. Actually, it's an interesting story. Our first submission was The Drama Company, and it came back from the state saying it's too generic and they won't accept it. So then we generated another list, and this is the one that we all agreed was the best name, and then we went with that.
Wonderful.
And the fact that it abbreviates to Bad Company, I think it kind of spurred us on.
Yeah, I almost thought it was like a Michael Jackson thing, like Bad. So you have some plays coming up?
Yes, so we have our 7th production coming up in December. So the show dates are December 3rd to 11th at Sunnyvale Theatre. And the play is called Free Outgoing. It's set in Chennai in India, but it's a very universal theme. It's about how when you put smartphones in the hands of teenagers, the things that can happen, the things that can go wrong, and they go very wrong, and how, you know, a video that's taped goes viral, and how, the community, the neighborhood, and the media just tear apart the family where the girl has been taped.
And where will this be showing?
Sunnyvale Theatre.
And when's that coming up?
December 3rd to 11th. We have 5 shows.
Very nice. Where do you find your actors?
All our actors are from the Bay Area community. And what we do is when we launch a new production, we announce our auditions on our website, through our emails, through our Facebook page, and so on. And by and large, the response has been very encouraging.
And are you a nonprofit?
Yes.
And what made you decide to be a nonprofit?
Well, so theater, I think most theater groups, if you look at theater groups in the Bay Area, they are nonprofit, and I think that's the way we decided to go, because it makes, we do need to raise funds to support ourselves, and for that you also need volunteers, and both volunteers as well as donors, they're more comfortable if they're giving to a nonprofit. So it almost wasn't an option to be a for-profit company.
I see. And if someone wanted to audition for one of your plays, how would they go about it?
Just respond to our audition announcements, and we'll give the date and a time slot for the person to come, and we have a set procedure that we follow, and we go through with that.
Yeah. And also on the website, we have a Join Us page where you can fill out a form, indicate your interest, whether you're interested in performing as an actor or in production design or backstage, whatever. And then we contact you for that purpose then.
And you're both directors and actors, and you're a writer. Are you a writer as well?
I am not. He is.
Tell me about your experiences in writing and when you started.
Well, we've been around for 2 years. 2 of the productions are actually that we did. One was last year, Doll's House, was a play that I adapted from the original Ibsen's play, which is 130 years old.
Wow.
And the play is about a woman's identity, a theme that plays out beautifully in almost all cultures around the world, even today. So what I did was I adapted the Ibsen's original play to an Indian American family in the Bay Area, and it was received very well last year. I also directed it, and then so we did another run this year as well.
Now, with your culture and then in the Bay Area, how were you able to transform that? I mean, because that's quite a change.
It is. So it was I had to more or less rewrite it. I mean, the plot is not as close to Ibsen's original as you might think an adaptation should be, but it didn't quite fit. But if you look at the broad theme of a woman's struggle, you know, she's a homemaker, and then her struggle with, okay, what is her identity within the family, within society, and then how she suddenly, you know, when a crisis happens, she finds herself adrift because her husband treats her very differently, and as if he had a claim on her, and then how she responds to that. So the events are different from Ibsen's event. The crisis itself is different, and the way I wrote the play, it was very sort of anchored in sort of Indian culture and some festivals which are different. Ibsen's original was during Christmas, and so here this is a Hindu family, so I picked a different festival called Karwa Chauth, which is where, you know, the woman prays for the long life of her husband. So again, it, you know, so it sort of lends itself to that, what is my identity as a woman, kind of a theme. And at the end, I left the ending very, very true to Ibsen's original, because I thought that was like, I shouldn't mess with that.
Yeah, artistic license can only go so far.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you don't want to go so far that people say, okay, this has nothing to do with a doll's house. I mean, if you change the ending, then that's just, you can't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, fundamentally, we do believe that most social conflicts have always existed, and they exist everywhere in the world. Changing the backdrop on which the conflict is framed really doesn't change the conflict. The conflict remains the same. Discrimination, exploitation on the basis of race, gender, and in so many other ways is everywhere in the world, and it has to be battled and fought everywhere.
Absolutely, yes. Now, you've been directing and acting for over 40 years. Tell me when you started, Basab.
1968, when I was still a student.
What was your first play?
Well, actually, I started long before that, when I was a little kid, and I acted as one of the 40 thieves in Ali Baba and 40 Thieves.
That's great.
But no, on a more serious note, yes, it was when I was a student, and I was part of the dramatic society of my university, and started working there, and it soon evolved into a passion. After I finished my education, when I started working, a group of friends, we got together and we formed a theatre group back in India, in Calcutta, in 1981.
Wow.
And we were doing about 4 to 5 productions a year. The nice part of it is that I left that city in 1993.
Wow.
Today, 23 years later, and nearly 40 years since we founded the group is still going strong in Calcutta.
Still?
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's just great. I love theater. Do you both act in your plays?
Yes, we do. I and all of us, I think, we try not to act in the plays that we are directing. But sometimes it's just not possible, because, so in A Doll's House, for instance, I wrote it, I directed it, and I was not planning to act in it, but one of the actors had to drop out, so, and there was just 5 weeks left to show, so I had to step in.
Got to do it.
Yeah, yeah, but most of the time we tend not to be in the play that act in the play that we're directing.
You see, it's a lot different from television or film, because once you take a shot on TV or on film, you can watch the shot to see how it's come out. But you can't watch yourself on stage.
No, you can't. Not unless you film it and you can watch it later how it happened. But yeah, I understand.
And sadly, unfortunately, not very many playwrights pen in roles and characters for people with as much gray hair as I have.
Yeah, beautiful hair, by the way. Yeah, the difference between acting on film and then acting in theater is quite different.
Yes.
In theater, you could have 20 rows or 200 rows, and you have to act over the top so everyone can see what you're doing. On film, your face is as big as a kitchen table, and every emotion that you have, people can read what you're thinking.
There's one more very important difference.
What's that?
And which is that the actors and the audience, they feed off energy from each other.
True.
When the audience responds to any situation on stage, the energy flows right back into the actors, and that helps them to grow more.
This is true. When did you start acting?
I started in school. I continued into college. Actually, A Doll's House was, I first did it in college. I directed and acted in it. And then I stopped after college, and I just worked. And I picked it back up only recently. I was like riding a bike.
It's never too late.
It's never too late, and it really doesn't go away, especially if you've done a good bit of it, which I had. So I'm happy that I'm able to do this now. And we work with our theater company almost full time. So it's a big commitment, and we're just thrilled that we're able to do that.
And you have a third founder?
Yes. Our third founder is a charming young lady, Sindhu Singh. And in fact, it was the interaction between the three of us that got us into bringing this idea to fruition. She's unfortunately out of town right now. She too is a very accomplished actor, director, and production designer.
Fantastic. That's great.
So it's the three of us who are the co-founders of this group.
And most of your plays are spoken in English?
All of them, and that's we intend to keep it that way. So our plays are all in English. We want to appeal to audiences. We do have audiences who are not even South Asian. But even if it was just South Asian, you have to use English is the link language, because India itself has so many languages that you couldn't do plays in Hindi and appeal to South Indian audiences. So Hindi is like largely spoken in North India. But we also think that while the plays we do, the settings and the actors by and large tend to be South Asian, but the themes are very universal. So for instance, the next play that we're doing, Free Outgoing, the theme is about young people, smartphones, slut shaming, and the kinds of things that happen in high school and college in the United States. You hear about it every month. There's something or the other. And how that plays out in a country like India, which is traditional conservative, is different, but the issue is very universal, because smartphones are getting into the hands of teenagers everywhere in the world.
Everywhere, every age, huh? Did you hear about the Samsung phones today on the news? Or was it last night that they were starting on fire?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so they've recalled their phones, the Samsung Note, I believe.
But no phones on fire for the play?
No.
Basab, what's the hardest role you've ever played?
It was the character of the father in Arthur Miller's All My Sons.
Tell me about it.
That was a play about the period was around the time of the Korean War, and the father was a guy who was running a factory where they manufactured aircraft parts for the Air Force. And one day something went wrong on the production line and the defective parts came out. As a businessman, he decided to close his eyes to it and supply those parts to the Air Force, which resulted in planes crashing, pilots being killed, and one of the pilots killed was his own son.
So this is a true story?
No, it's a play by Arthur Miller.
Okay, all right.
Arthur Miller's play.
Okay, all right.
And the play went on to examine how this has always played on his mind. His wife knew about it, but they would rather not talk about it. and you know, it went on examining the characters of each of these people. That was which was a very interesting and yet a difficult role. Among other reasons, it was little more difficult because that was the role of an older person, and at that time I was not an older person.
So they had to age you.
Yes.
But you could do it now.
Yes, possibly.
Would you do it at your theater, perhaps?
I don't know.
But we do love Arthur Miller as a playwright for sure. I just saw Crucible in New York. It was just
It's an amazing
very
play.
powerful.
Yeah.
Play. Yeah.
So anyone else starting a theater company, would you give any advice?
Think carefully before you start it, because it's very so part of it is, of course, you're following your passion and you're doing theater, but a big part of it is running a small business.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to be spending a lot of time running that small business, and it's those parts of the business have to be run well in order for you to be able to do the theater that you love. And it's not always easy, it's not always fun to run the business side of it. You have to make ends meet, which is the most important part of it, right? And we've been fortunate in that, you know, we just put in $200 each so far. Oh. And so we've been able to run this sustainably with just that, and we're proud of what we've achieved so far. But it's not always it's not been easy, and for any new theater company, I think that is the key thing that they have to look at before they decide they want to go do this. But having said that, it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It gives you the kind of freedom you get from being able to decide what kind of theater you'd like to do and go do it. You don't get it as if you were just an actor or a director, because you're working in productions that are other companies' productions.
I get it, Ravi. It is a lot of fun, even though it is hard work.
Yeah.
See, it's very important to be clear about one's objectives. Just as in cinema, in theater also there is theater which is purely commercial and run purely like a business with the prime objective of making money. And there is theater which is more issue-based, which tries to question society. I do believe that while, yes, theater, like all other forms of art, does try to entertain, but that's not all. Theater has an important responsibility to function as a mirror to society. Now, anybody starting a new group must be clear. Do they want to do it as a business to become rich, or do they want to do it because they want to do it?
Because they have a passion.
Yes. And are concerned about the issues they are raising. There is this technique of theater which is called Chekhovian theater, pioneered by Anton Chekhov from Russia, in which he has this, in all his plays, he asks questions of society. He doesn't always answer them. He raises the questions and leaves it to the audience to find their own answers.
That's the best. I mean, in acting and in writing, you want to include the audience to help for them to be part of it, to figure it out.
To take a quick example, Basab was just talking about this play, Doll's House, which he directed and he adapted. The play ends with the woman walking out of the house. Now, will she come back? Will she reconcile? Is she gone for good? And what made her do that? Those are the questions out there.
And would you do that, or would I do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Leaves it open-ended. Very interesting. So they walk out thinking, right? Right.
We hope so.
And where do you stage your plays? I know this one coming up in December is at the
Sunnyvale Theater, yeah.
Community Theater, yeah.
Yeah, and we also, another site that we use is Lohman Theater at Foothill College.
Okay.
Yeah, so Los Altos Hills, yeah.
Wonderful. Next year you have some more plays coming up?
Yeah, but so far we haven't announced a season yet.
Okay.
It's still in planning.
Okay.
So far, but we know what our December play is, which is free outgoing.
And are the actors paid?
The actors are not paid. We right now the sort of model that we have works. If we we do pay people in for certain production design skills like set design, light design, makeup sometimes, and the direction we're taking is we want to attract better talent by paying, and paying for things that we feel like they should be paid for. I think everybody should be paid. I think actors should be paid because they have to make a living, even if they're not doing this full time. But we're just not yet there, not where we can actually pay our actors.
I'm wondering, if the actors aren't paid, and how do you get them to volunteer? Just to be part of it? Do you?
Yeah, well, so far we've had no trouble at all, and our auditions are very well attended. We are often spoiled for choice. They're not professional actors, but there's a great deal of talent and a great deal of interest in acting, and a lot of them, obviously, they have day jobs. I would say that even for professional actors, if you're a professional theater actor, you have to be really at the tippy top of the pyramid to be able to do this full time, and you would have to do something else. So I think we're fortunate in that we're drawing from a pool of artists where they can actually afford to do this on a volunteer basis.
Do you have any training? Do you train actors at all? Do you have any classes?
Well, I think if you saw our rehearsals, they are very much
Coaching?
Coaching. A lot of coaching goes in, and we just don't. I mean, for instance, just today I spent an hour with one of the actors in Free Outgoing, so I'm directing that play. He's a first-time actor, and so he needs help, which is over and above the time we spend with him in rehearsals. And so we do that a lot. So some of it is accent training, for instance. Some of that is just flow and things you can do on the phone, so you don't have to necessarily. But if we had to meet one-on-one, we would do that. So yes, there is a lot of coaching outside of rehearsals as well.
And Basab, there's two kinds of plays that you put on. Your website says two kinds of plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like to explain that?
Yeah, sure. So, so we have our main stage plays, which are full production. They will generally be in Sunnyvale Theater. So the production values are much higher. And then we have our black box, black and white line, which are more or less black box settings, and where we just try to get the essence of the theater, which is the acting and what's going on on stage with the actors. So it allows us to sort of play around with having a more economical setting, production for the black box and lower ticket prices and stuff like that.
That's nice.
To explain that a little more, it's the kind of thing where the sets are more symbolic than true to life, which saves on the costs there. And that is a thought that extends to all aspects of the production, to be able to bring the production out at a lower cost, but with less razzmatazz.
I get it. And your full productions, do you have music score?
Yes. So we have in 3 of our plays we had original music composed, sung live.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Who's singing?
So I'll tell you, for A Doll's House. In A Doll's House, we had an original composition done by Bay Area composers. It was recorded. So Sindhu, who plays the lead role of Nora, Ibsen's Nora in the play, so she's also a very talented singer. So she recorded it, and then so it was played back during the play. But there's also sort of a nightclub scene in the play, and she's the singer there. So she sings a cover of a song from the Bangles live on stage.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did your family support you in your acting and writing and as a youth? Were they supportive of you?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, without that, it gets very difficult to do this kind of a thing. So, you know, my wife is a writer herself, and so she's supportive, very supportive of my foray into the arts.
That's wonderful. How about
My wife too, when we were doing theatre back in India, she was very much a part of the group. In fact, I spoke to you about that, my character in All My Sons. It is she who played my wife in that play.
Oh, that's perfect.
But after having come here, and she finds this a little difficult. She works in San Francisco, and to go to rehearsals and she finds that a little tedious.
Yeah, it's quite a commute, isn't it?
So she helps us with production.
Okay, so again, your website is
BayAreaDrama.company, and the next show is Free Outgoing, which will be December 3rd to 11th at Sunnyvale Community Theatre.
wonderful.
And our Facebook page is Bay Area Drama Company, in which also we keep announcing developments and new things that are happening, and the progress of our productions which are on the floors.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to seeing those shows. I'm going to come and see that show
Please.
at the Sunnyvale
We'd love to
Community
have you there.
Theater. That's a great theater.
Yes,
the
it is.
acoustics there are just
Terrific.
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually put on a production there one time. It
You
was
did?
pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Music show?
Oh, a musical, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, comedy musical.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your stuff is comedy, yeah?
We don't do necessarily do comedies, but there are pieces to it which are comic.
It's drama.
Yes, it's
right?
drama with comic interludes.
Let's put it this way, we like to have humor in our plays, but we don't want it to become slapstick.
There you go. Thank you so much, Ravi and Basab, for being with us today. Thank you for joining us today in our community. This is Tricia Greenwood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.